Welcome to Healthy by Knowledge, and today's episode is all about kale. Now, I'm going to show you how to make the most of this nutritious winter vegetable. The good thing about kale is that, like I said, it's full of nutrition, high in vitamins, good for the immune system. Rumor has it, it also helps fight cancer. So, I'm going to show you how to make the most of the health benefits by sticking it into a curry base so that it just infuses in all of those spices and just delicious flavors of the curry. And then you can make the most of this nutritious vegetable. So let's get into the ingredients. So for the base, you're gonna need 2 medium onions. If you've got a large one, that will also do. 5 cloves of garlic, a small thumb of ginger, a couple of chillies, cumin, turmeric, paprika, ground coriander, and some garam masala, and 5 medium-sized tomatoes. Now that's gonna make the base. You're also gonna need a couple of potatoes, 500 grams of cubed lamb, kale, and we're gonna garnish with some fresh coriander at the end. Okay, let's prep this sheet. So just a quick look, this is what the ingredients look like for the curry base when they're prepped. That's the ginger, the garlic, all grated up. Underneath there, you got the chili sliced up finely. This is just the onions diced. Same for the tomatoes. The smaller you dice them, the quicker they'll cook. Okay, stick the heat on, medium-high heat. Get your pan on, and now we're going to go in with a couple of tablespoons of coconut oil. So just let that melt off quickly. You want it to get nice and hot. Just remember that I'm actually going to stick in a stick of cinnamon just to flavor the oil a little bit. Really does add a little kick. If you don't have any cinnamon, doesn't really matter. You can add in another blend of spices like bay leaves, cardamom pods, whatever it is. But I do think that cinnamon does add a little extra something to curry bases. So we're just gonna let that cinnamon stick cook off for a little minute or so that it can really flavor that oil up, and then we're gonna start adding in our ingredients. First, we're gonna go in with the onions. Okay, so we're just gonna cook this off for about 2 to 4 minutes. So the heat's quite high, we're gonna keep an eye on it. Because that's been about 5 minutes. Just under, the onions are looking absolutely mental. That's exactly how you want them. Sweating away, just beginning to brown off there. And then you're gonna go in with your garlic, your chili, and your ginger. And you're gonna give that a good mix about. And you're gonna roughly cook that off for, I'd say, 2 minutes. You're gonna wanna watch this because if you burn your garlic, that's your curry ruined. So keep an eye on it. If your curry needs more oil, stick some in. If you're a bit fearful of putting too much oil in, you can also stick in some water, that'll also do, but don't be shy with the oil. I mean, coconut oil is pretty healthy. It's not really that bad for you to add in an extra couple of tablespoons, so don't be fearful of it. I'm really going to show you what I mean about keeping an eye on the garlic and the ginger, especially the garlic, because it is quick to stick to the bottom of the pan, and it's just doing it right now, so check it. You see here, right there, it's starting to stick. Now it's not too bad because there's still a slight coat of oil there. But the garlic and onion and all the other ingredients just literally soak up the oil. So if you see on the side there, it's beginning to brown. Now, what you're gonna do here is you either add in your tomato paste or more oil. And what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna add in my tomatoes. And what that does is basically it adds moisture to the curry so nothing sticks anymore, and you're good to go. Just gonna reduce that for a couple of minutes. And that really is it. If you don't keep an eye on the ingredients, in about 30 seconds, you can literally burn them to a crisp, and then you gotta restart the whole curry over again. Now, you gotta stick it on a sort of medium to high heat to begin with. Well, I like doing that, cooks it a lot quicker. You can go a bit slower if you'd like. It just all depends how long you want to take cooking your curry. Now, I don't mind taking an hour to an hour and a half. That seems a little bit long for some people, so in under an hour, 45 minutes, half an hour ideally, is how long they would like to make it in. So the tomatoes have been reducing for the past 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes or so, and now it's time to stick in the rest of the ingredients. And just a quick note on the spices. Now, some people like less cumin, some people like a little more cumin. It just depends on your palate. I usually go with a teaspoon of each. but sometimes I do like to switch it up and add in just half a teaspoon of something, a teaspoon and a half of another thing. It does switch up the flavor. So this is something you got to take account of, because it can always be boring putting 1 teaspoon of each. It's great, tastes great. But the more you make these curries, the more you're going to want to switch up the flavors so that each one tastes a little bit different. And that also goes for adding coconut milk, cream, yogurt, whatever to your curry. But a little simple hint or a simple tip is to vary the amounts of spice that you put in. So now I'm going to go with the simple standard 1 teaspoon of each. But if you try it out and you think that something's a little bit too overpowering, then leave it out or put less of it in. Easy. So I added 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of paprika, teaspoon of cumin, a teaspoon of ground coriander, and a teaspoon of turmeric. Turmeric is really good for you. This stuff is amazing if you got inflammation in the body. It's really good for your immune system, really good for colds, just a perfect winter food. Now give it a good mix up. Roll sauce. I got the sauce. So just look at that. That is the exact consistency you want it to get to. So that's just been about 2 minutes, I'd say, simmering away, reducing nicely. The salt does help to bring out all of that moisture from the vegetables. And so you got a nice little sauce right there. Now we're gonna stick in our meat. And all we're gonna do is mix it well in. Get all of that meat coated in that delicious curry base. So that's looking like it's all been coated. Okay. Now all that's left to do is pop the lid on. So just at a quick glance, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the curry off the high heat or the medium high heat, and I'm gonna put it on a lower heat just to let it simmer, because again, like I said before about the burning of the curry, you don't want to just walk off 5-10 minutes, come back and the whole bottom of the curry is burnt to a crisp, because that's happened a few times to me. And let me tell you this, when that happens, there's no masking that flavor. It just infuses itself within the curry and it just tastes really bitter and disgusting. I don't know if you've ever burnt toast before or something like that and you've taken a couple of bites into it, it doesn't taste too great. I just picture that in a curry just destroying the whole thing. So keep an eye on it, stick it on a low heat. Not too low, because you kind of want to still cook it a little bit fast, but it's, yeah. Just don't lose the plot with the heat, that's all. Keep an eye on it. Just a tiny little simmer. All right, that's been cooking away for about 15 minutes there. Oof, it's looking very solid. And it's about time to stick in our potatoes that peeled and chopped. So these are the potatoes. They're about 1 centimeter by 2 centimeter. Again, the smaller you cut these, the quicker they'll cook. So if you're in a hurry, just make them really small. I mean, look, these are absolutely tiny, these ones. Stick in your potatoes. Get them all nice and coated. You could go ahead and add a little bit more salt. Just depends on your palate, really. Now that the potatoes are nice and coated, all we're gonna do is stick the lid on, let that simmer for 15 minutes. And in the meantime, we're gonna prep our kale. That's really simple. All we're gonna do is grab some kale, wash the kale, and then all you have to do is peel the leaves off the stem. Okay, so we're just gonna be using the leaves for the curry. So basically, you're just gonna take everything off the stem, keep the stem for later, and then we're gonna slice the kale up finely to stick it in the curry. All right, so this is what my kale looks like once it's cut up. It's not too small, manageable sizes. So we're coming to the end of the curry now. There's about 10 minutes or so left, which is the perfect amount of time to make some rice. I got some basmati rice here. And the best way to make it is to grab yourself a cup, and then you're gonna stick in about half the cup. Just under half is a portion, depending on how big your cup is actually. You grab yourself a pot, you're gonna stick your rice in, and add a pinch of salt, season that water, or season that rice, don't want it to be bland. Okay, so, you know, just about 1/3 of a teaspoon. Again, you can add in a bay leaf in there if you want, but grab your mug again and you fill that up. So it's 2 to 1. So if you put in 1 cup of rice, you're gonna stick in 2 cups of water. So, shit. In with the water. Whack the heat on. Just give that a little mix up. Stick a plate on top. I ain't got no lid for that. So just grab a plate like that, stick it on top. Once it comes to a simmer, heat all the way down. And then you just let that simmer for 10 minutes. Anywhere from 10 to 12 minutes. Just keep an eye on it. Simple. Okay, now let's finish the curry off because it's getting to that time. Okay, that's looking absolutely amazing. It smells amazing. All right, so just give that a little mix about. And now comes the kale. I got about 500 grams of kale here. Just under 500 grams. It's up to you. I mean, I like sticking a lot of this stuff in curries because it's really good for you. It gives a nice body to the curry as well. And I mean, it's just really healthy. So I mean, we're gonna have to let that wilt down. I'd say give that about anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes and it'll have wilted, and then we can start mixing it in properly. Lid on. Okay, that's wilted away for a couple of minutes. All right, it's easy to maneuver now, so just once that's wilted down, just give it a nice little mix about. Get it all nice and coated, and then you're gonna leave it in there for another couple of minutes to reduce, cook down, get nice and flavorsome, and then you're pretty much ready to plate up. That's looking amazing. You're just gonna mix this in nice and proper, and then cook it down for another 2 minutes, and the base of the curry is gonna start, well, simmering, wilting down that kale, and then you're just going to be left with something absolutely ridiculous. And it's like a picture of health. Just look at that. Looks absolutely mental. Okay, another couple of minutes and then we're going to add the garnish and that's it. Lid on, 2 more minutes, done. In the meantime, let's see what this rice is saying. It's looking perfect. Okay, that's excellent. Amazing. Just in the nick of time. Okay, so you can see that cooked perfectly. It's not sticking to the bottom. That was about 10 minutes. Okay, so now I'm just gonna let that sit. And that's how easy rice is to make. Easy. Okay, so the kale's been cooking away for about 2 minutes now. Just been simmering off in that delicious sauce. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add in a pinch of coriander, chopped fresh coriander. That's really gonna freshen the whole dish up. And we're gonna add in a teaspoon of garam masala, which is gonna add some more flavor. Just a mixture of spices, sweetens up a little bit. And that's it. Serve out with some rice. Good to go. So now, go in with some freshly chopped coriander. Turn the heat off. And give that a little mix in. So get in there with your teaspoon of garam masala. Get everything nice and infused, nice and coated in that garam masala and fresh coriander. And that's your kale curry ready. Let's plate up. And that's it. Didn't take that long, took about an hour and 15 minutes. Smells absolutely ridiculous. And let's see how it tastes. This is bloody tasty. So simple to make. And kale, damn. You have it in a curry, tastes absolutely great. Can't even taste that it's kale. It just tastes like some sort of leafy green. It's amazing. Right, well, that's your kale curry done. Give it a go. And if you like the recipe, go ahead and give it a like, a comment, and subscribe to the channel while you're at it. And I'll see you soon.